The story of mutations, when nature takes a risk. Let me tell you a story. It begins billions of years ago, in a time before time as we know it, when the earth was still young, wild, and barely recognizable. There were no humans, no forests, no towering cities, just a churning, chaotic world, bursting with fire, ash, oceans, and possibility. And somewhere, deep in a warm, swirling pool of ancient water, a spark happened, not lightning, not magic, but life. The first molecules that could copy themselves formed, not perfectly, but just enough. They twisted, joined, danced with chemicals, and split again. They left behind tiny versions of themselves, some exact copies, others just slightly different. That slight difference was a mutation, and it changed everything. You see, mutations are like nature's little accidents, but not the kind you ignore. They're the tiny spelling errors that sometimes happen when DNA, the instruction book for every living thing, is copied. Our bodies, and the bodies of every animal, every plant, every bacteria, they all rely on DNA to pass instructions from one generation to the next. But copying DNA is like typing a book word for word, again and again, forever. Eventually, even the most careful scribe makes a mistake. Sometimes it's just one letter in billions, a single change. But that tiny error can mean the difference between blue eyes and brown, a longer tail or no tail, gills or lungs, wings or arms. Think about that. The reason birds fly, the reason flowers bloom in colors, the reason some of us are taller or have freckles or can digest milk as adults. It all traces back to these small, spontaneous mistakes in our DNA, mutations. Now, not all mutations are good. In fact, most of them aren't. Some do nothing at all. Some are harmful. They can cause diseases, disorders, or make survival harder. But every so often, one of these mutations gives an organism an edge, a small advantage. Maybe it helps a fish blend in better with coral. Maybe it lets a bear survive colder winters. Maybe it helps a tree grow taller to reach more sunlight. And when that mutation helps, it sticks around. Because the creatures that survive pass it on to their children, who pass it on again and again, until that little mistake becomes part of the new normal. That's evolution in action, and it's still happening, right now, inside you. Every cell in your body is constantly copying DNA, making new skin, new hair, new blood. And every time it does, there's a tiny chance of a new mutation. Most will be caught and corrected. Some will slip through unnoticed. And a few, just a few, will quietly shape your future. Maybe it's the reason someone has dimples or a talent for music. Maybe it's a mutation that protects you from a disease others can't fight, or one that helps you digest a type of food better than anyone else. There's something oddly beautiful in that, isn't there? That inside every one of us, we're carrying the echoes of ancient accidents, that the very traits we admire, strength, speed, intelligence, beauty, may have begun with a random twist of nature's code. Mutations aren't flaws. They're experiments, tiny risks that the universe takes again and again, and sometimes they lead to something amazing. Now let's go a little deeper. There are different types of mutations, each with their own story. Some are point mutations, where just one single letter in the DNA is swapped for another. Imagine writing the word cat, and someone accidentally writes cap. Small difference? Yes. But in DNA, even that can have huge effects. Other times, a whole section of the DNA might be deleted, or a chunk added in by mistake. Or maybe the sequence gets flipped or repeated. Like reading a sentence, but suddenly the words are out of order or duplicated. These changes can be inherited, passed down from parents, or they can happen during your lifetime, caused by things like radiation, chemicals, or even sunlight. That's why wearing sunscreen is more than a beauty tip. It's a way to protect your DNA from mutating in ways that can hurt you. But here's the twist. Not all dangerous mutations are bad for a species. Let me tell you about one incredible example. A long time ago, in Africa, humans faced a deadly disease carried by mosquitoes, malaria. It was brutal. But some people, those with a very specific mutation in their blood, had a surprising level of resistance. That mutation? It causes sickle-shaped blood cells. On its own, that mutation can lead to a painful disorder. But in areas with high malaria risk, the people with one copy of that mutation had the best chance of survival. Nature, once again, played its complex game. A risky mutation turned into a protective shield. At least for some, that's the dance of mutation and survival. It's never simple, it's never perfect, but it's always powerful. And here's where it gets personal. Every person alive today is a walking museum of mutations. You are made of stardust, yes, but also of ancient errors. Your eyes, your hair, the way your brain solves problems. Each piece of you carries the fingerprints of evolution's risks. When you look in the mirror, you're not just seeing you. You're seeing the sum of countless experiments, mutations that helped your ancestors adapt, survive, and ultimately thrive. Without mutations, life would be frozen, stagnant, static. There'd be no butterflies, no cheetahs, no music, no laughter, no you. We owe everything to the messy, miraculous process of mutation. So the next time someone says mutant like it's a bad thing, remember this. Mutation is the reason life exists in all its beautiful, unpredictable forms. Mutation is why we change, why we grow, why we become, and maybe, just maybe, that one strange spark in your DNA, that one little difference that makes you unique, isn't a flaw. It's the future waiting to unfold, and that is the story of mutations.